Hello, and if you've already tuned in, we got about 10 people on here so far. Welcome to FCB's League Play, where we're getting ready for our regional tournament here on May 30th. And in celebration of that, we have two store champions here in the Atlanta area. Oh crap! They're first of all, they're sitting on the opposite table edges from where I told them, so I'm gonna correct that here. How's everybody doing tonight? I see Rye Dub and Audio Weasel, our regular players here, or our regular viewers. I'm gonna pop out the chat so I can see it better while I edit this. Okay, cut and then. How's everybody doing tonight? There's a little bit of chat activity, and then I popped it out, and nobody else has talked since then. My name is Brandon. I'm Engine 25 on the forums. I'm your regular commentator, and I am joined by the tabletop general. Here, you start talking, James.
Okay. I'm gonna tell you where my guys are, since you probably can't see them.
Which?
So Torkel's in the front. The one on the very outside is Camel, and the one in the back is
Cool.
Is Palo.
You guys set up on the opposite table edge from where I had intended, but that's fine. Quick.
Sorry.
What? Paylabs at the top.
The Camel's at top. The furthest away one. The front of the formation is
Torkel.
Is Torkel. Palop's the one that's closest to you, and then
Sweet.
Torkel's front. They'll probably stay that way.
Copy that. I'm correcting just tell them I'm correcting the text.
All right, so if you overheard any of that, that was Lambot, our resident TO, getting us all kinds of confused about what ships were where and moving things around. So I've had an opportunity to play against this list of his a couple of times now, and he's very regimented about how he plays it. I'll go ahead and tell you right off the bat, he's probably not going to leave that table edge for at least the first 4 or 5 turns. So we're probably going to have to end up moving some of our text around here on the screen just to be able to see him, because he's going to hide right behind that label.
I'm going to take this off for the time being. Holy crap, the table's crooked. We can work with that. I think that's just because I know the table's square. Yeah, the camera's crooked. Rydub, did you signed up for a regional? I hope you signed up for our regional. You're going to hop on a plane, right? I don't know where you are, but I expect to see you here. Luke is going to be the X-Wing. Toronto region. You're on the same continent. You can make it down here. I'll put you on my stream if you come down here and play.
Seriously, Hartsfield is a very easy to get to place. Just about everywhere flies there.
A lot of border on these are kind of hard to read. Okay, I'm gonna. Looks like the guys are set up, so I'm gonna go give them the go ahead to start. Here we go. There's the timer going. Whenever you're ready. Luke has I'm sorry, Brandon has initiative here with Luke Skywalker and his B-wings. Really, that kind of just determined who gets to place the first ruck. They don't have any doubled up pilot skills here, unless I'm mistaken.
No, all the blue squadrons should be pilot skill 2. Luke should be pilot skill 8.
Yeah.
And then the pilot skills for the scum should be
Or
3, 5, and 7.
Right. So yeah, the blue squadrons are taking a 3 forward. Probably gonna feel out where Lambot decides to go with those turrets before he decides to be too aggressive. Tabletop General behind me has, like he was saying, he's played against this list a couple of times, and Lambot loves that table edge. And in fact, with a lot of lists Lambot plays, he loves to stick to the side.
So really expecting just short little 1 forwards here, and sure enough, that's what we're getting. So part of the reasoning behind that is how all of his ships interact and what he wants to be doing with each one of them.
You'll see Torkel will take, probably Lambot would prefer Luke, but most often just whatever's closest to him down to pilot skill 0. And then Palob Godali is going to yank a token, so then Cavill and Palob can lay on the hurt with those blaster turrets backed up by Opportunist. Cavill, of course, already gets an extra die with his turret, so he's gonna be rolling 5 die blaster turret, and then 5 die blaster turret with a target lock. Palob has a K4 security droid and Moldy Crow, so he'll be stealing those tokens to stack them up, and he's gonna get a 4 die blaster turret with focus and target lock every shot.
Right, and that's another big reason as to why you'll see Lambot kind of take his time getting into the engagement, because he's just stacking up focus tokens at this point. He's making sure that he's got enough to fire his turret, to modify his defense rolls, and to modify his attacks.
And speaking of defense, he also has an interesting upgrade from the scum that no offense, James, but I heard it gave you some grief over the turn at Moxie. Those feedback arrays kind of makes your opponent want to stay away from you, because this automatic damage might often be better than even rolling those turret attacks.
Right. I mean, those things are really just meant to assassinate interceptors. And Lambot was saying this weekend that the #1 reason that he brings those is to have defense against Carnor Jax.
Carnor Jax gets in there and he can't spend his focus, which means he can't use those blaster turrets.
Right, and he's becoming so prevalent now with the auto thrusters being introduced to make the interceptors viable once again that, I'll be the first to say I'm playing the heck out of it myself. So, he's well justified in thinking that he's going to see a lot of Carnor Jax, but other interceptors want to come in for close up, hey, in your face attacks too.
Soontir Fel loves to be in range 1.
Well,
he rolls a bunch of damage, and it's easier to dodge arcs.
Yeah, exactly. So the kind of go-to method for how to fight a list like this is to do drive-by attacks at range 3. But with the speed or lack thereof of the B-Wings, it's going to be interesting to see what he's able to manage facing this.
B-Wing players, like the B-Wing's known as a heavy knife fighter, and that sounds kind of weird, but with all that, it's one of the only ships in the game that has every maneuver at speed 1, even though those 1 turns are stressful, so it can stay close to you even if you try to wiggle around it, but it also has those that miles of shield, so the feedback arrays might not help him too much against the B-Wings. And Luke Skywalker here actually has R5P9, so he might be able to recover some of that shield.
Well, it depends on how close he gets, because
Exactly.
We've got some token stealing over there in the scum. All right, so we're setting dials again.
Interesting. I missed it because we were talking about something else. But the interesting move there from the B-Wings. The ones in the front kind of turned, and the other one just went straight. Brendan's taking a slow approach too, but he's keeping those B-Wings really close to each other.
Right, and Brendan's an experienced player. He's been around here for a good long while now, and I think he kind of epitomizes the concepts of covering fire and making an alpha strike. He doesn't want to get in a situation where just one of those B-wings is going to be trading shots with the enemy. He wants to make sure that all three of them get to shoot at the same time, or nobody gets to shoot.
And the B-wings take another nice bank between those asteroids. Just inching right along. Not a whole lot is going to happen here. I'm guessing for at least a couple of turns.
Yeah, his alpha strike is going to have to come at range 3 though, unless he wants to be just nuked.
And then but by then, it's hard to say who would be the best target at range 3. Cavill might be too far away. I'll be honest with you, I might focus on Torkel.
I'd focus on
because Torkel's really annoying, but Paylob by then is going to have a lot of defense stacked up, and shooting him at range 3 is just like, all right, here's the damage. All right, whiffed an attack. Here's another damage. It was like when you could clear Torkel really fast.
Right, but if you can't get Cavill, I think Palob's going to be your biggest threat in this list.
Absolutely. No, I agree with that.
It doesn't hurt any of the B-Wings, especially to have their pilot skill dropped, and Luke's not really going to care all that much because he's going to be able to have all his passive defense and all that, and he's going to be sticking around for at least a shot or two. He'll be able to get an attack back. So the big thing that he has to worry about, that's speaking towards Brendan, he has to worry about the token stealing. That's going to hurt him worse than being dropped to pilot skill 0 by far.
Well, he can't steal target locks though, so
He could just wander up target lock.
that's almost what I would do. Although
Fire with his remaining
a
chips.
5 dice shot coming back at a 1 defense B-wing is
Oh, he's
not
gonna
good.
lose a B-wing in the
Yeah.
exchange, but
He's gonna lose one first though. That's the problem.
I mean, we have some freeloaders back here in the project or the viewing booth with us, and it's actually Sam, our buddy Nervous Sam, who's been on the stream before. He's kicked my ass with Torkel Mux once. It's like same list I played on the stream 2 weeks ago. It's really strong in the joust, but if I lose a ship in the first turn, it's over. He first turn he dropped a Tala to pilot skill 0. It was cleared before it fired. Second turn he dropped Key into pilot skill 0. It was cleared before he fired. And then I spent the rest of the game limping along with a Z95 and Wedge Antilles until we ran out of time. But he got ahead in the points really fast.
you would have won that game. I was totally running the last 4 turns.
Anytime I hear Kian, this is like, he ain't get nukes. That sounds really good to me.
Yeah.
I hate that guy so much.
I'm hoping Brendan might do something a little more aggressive here. Nope, just the 2 straight.
Well, I mean, it's better than 1 straight.
Yeah, and it still gives him some space to react next turn if Lambot decides to turn in and pursue.
Oh, look at this. He's trying to inch into the edge of range 3, possibly.
If they too hard in, he might be in trouble.
Yeah.
Doubt they are.
Cavill won't turn in because he don't want to look at you, but the Hawks well might.
So
I don't think so either.
I mean,
Brendan
again,
took a
they
look
catch
at it.
you.
He saw that he wasn't really going to be able to get that range 3 shot that he wanted. So then he slid that barrel roll back because he realized that he wanted to stay at range 3 next turn.
For as long as possible.
Right.
Right. Stay out of those ranges, out of the range of those turrets. Because with the 1 defense on a B-wing, the 2 turrets coming out of those, coming out of that Y-wing and Paylob, they can clear a B-wing in 1 turn.
Absolutely.
So Brennan really needs to put the damage on in the early exchanges. What's going on in the chat?
Well, it looks like everybody's talking about the new obstacle placement rules, which is definitely going to be a change of pace for the tournament scene.
They're an interesting thing. Like you choose 3 unique obstacles that you bring to the tournament, and in every game you have to use the same ones. That's kind of interesting because you can conceivably see the same ones duplicated by your opponent. Like we're gonna
Right.
see
A lot.
we're gonna see a lot of the big rock, if you know what I mean. It's like
Yeah, at least 2 of those in every game.
yeah.
I really just like the fact that you can bring in debris fields now. I think that's way nicer. Some
Yeah.
people don't like that. But
It's going to be interesting to see how many people bring debris fields, because to me, debris fields scream bringing Dash Rendar, because Dash doesn't care about any sort of asteroids or obstacles during the movement phase, and the debris fields don't bother you at all in the shooting phase. So he can sit down on that and not even care.
So that's a big thing to bring up. It's going to be, it's obvious. They just added another thing of strategy in your tournament preparation. You need to think, how is my list going to interact with obstacles, and what obstacles are going to hinder me the most or assist me the most,
right.
depending on your list. Like you play interceptors a lot. If you could choose, now that you can choose, which obstacles would you prefer to have on the table?
So as an interceptor player, I'm probably taking the smallest asteroids available, because
I don't think you want debris fields at all.
Well, no, that's what I'm asking you. Yeah.
Yeah, the last thing I want to see is debris fields, because if I accidentally hit something, I'm losing my action anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want an extra stress. I don't want to close my dial up from that, especially not if I've done something stressful to get there. Like if I overlap something with a K turn, and then I end up barely on a debris field. Now that interceptor's got 2 stress on it, it's not doing any actions that turn or the next turn, and that's how interceptors die.
That's a problem, yeah. With their, they're one ship that absolutely depends on their action economy.
And that's why nobody plays the pilot skill 4, 5, 6 ones, except for
Rydub is talking about Dash Rendar. How much do you think Dash has been affected by AT interceptors?
I think there's a combination of factors that
put
together.
The Mangler cannon is a big deal, because then they can't just inch into one like they could before.
Right. So the Mangler cannon is a great filler for the range 1 hole on Dash, so that there's not a blind spot anymore. But when you combine the fact that you have the reduced amount of attack dice from the cannon, from switching from the HLC down to the Mangler cannon, then you look at the advent of auto thrusters giving an automatic conversion, it suddenly becomes really hard compared to what things looked like a month or 2 ago for the Rebel player with Dash to be able to actually get any damage through to the interceptors.
Here some interesting moves from Brendan. He moves those B-Wings up, and then he barrel rolls them backwards. Certainly hoping to stay at range 3 to maintain arc, but also to, like we've been saying, avoid those heavy turrets, because they're going to hurt the first time he takes the fire.
Okay. Right. So his plan here is he's barrel rolling back basically behind Lambot, and Lambot's going to be moving forward, which means he's going to be moving out of any sort of range 2 possibilities.
Lambot's banking. Don't hurt yourself, Torkel. It's like you can't just let go of the stick anymore.
The other thing you should note is that he didn't take any tokens. He just barrel rolled, right? So
speak up.
He didn't take any tokens, so it's gonna. I mean, the pilot seal or the one Hawk can't do his thing to take away tokens, but I don't know if he's necessarily gonna need that. Maybe he's just banking on the range 3 shots.
He's just trying to maintain range 3.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is probably the much smarter plan there to maintain range 3, because if he gets into range 2, then that token's going to get stolen anyway. His target is going to get zapped.
Free target lock there from Paylob doing a green maneuver due to K4 security droid. What did he do as his action? Do you see? Or maybe he just took a target lock? Or did he focus?
I think
the one turn's not green, so it was just a target.
Well, there was a one bang.
Or whatever,
yeah.
One bank's not green. I think. No, the Y-Wing it's definitely not.
Yeah,
it is on the Hawk.
It is on the
Hawk.
Hawk.
Never mind.
Right, so I'm trying to remember which one.
Which one is that?
Okay, so Paylob is the one carrying Moldy Crow, and so in that case, what he did is he put his focus token on his ship card because he's carrying such a stack of them at this point.
Bunch of them. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. He probably has like 5 or 6 at this point.
So this is going to be a very important turn for Brendan, because he's going to get some shots here, but next turn there's nothing that he can do to not end up inside of range 2 with Luke, which means if he doesn't put some serious damage onto the Scum Squadron this turn, Luke is going to absolutely get lit up next turn.
And And here Luke is measuring his shots here. He's looking like he's range 3 of everything. Hold up. Looks like he's firing at the Y-wing.
So he's checking range for Lone Wolf here.
Range 3 on Cavill from Luke Skywalker.
All right, so he's using Lone Wolf here, spins his focus, and looks like 3 damage results. See, 1 evade, so that should be 2 shields off of Cavill.
Sweet. Okay.
It's a start.
Gotta start somewhere.
Main gun's back.
Yeah, we're going to see some long-range shots here. Interesting that he's rolling... okay, so this is with Cavill. He's rolling 2 attack dice, so he chose not to use Opportunist.
He spent a focus to acquire a target lock and reroll that blank. And looks like Luke evaded.
Yeah, Luke is very strong on the defense because he's got that passive conversion of a focus token, especially at range 3. Just a couple of attack dice aren't going to be enough.
Paylob takes an Opportunist 4-die shot on the blue squad for 4 hits. And looks like Blue Squadron number 2
Lost 3 shields.
lost 3 shields. That hurts. Blue
It
Squadron
does.
2. I wish the scroll bar worked here.
So Write-Up's asking about whether or not we would be shooting Cavill first if we had the opportunity, and it's sort of a situation where there's not a good option, but out of everybody over here, Cavill definitely puts out the most damage.
Yeah, and it's Cavill's your hammer. The other guys are nice support for that hammer. Looks like three hits from a blue squad, 1 evade against. He
So
rolled 2 dice. Was that against Paylock?
No, he's going after Cavill. He's throwing all his.
yeah, that would have been a range 3 shot on Cavill.
Whoa, what the hell happened here? Batang. Okay, unloading on Cavill. I might need to.
Seeing lots of ink over here.
Yeah. Drop some damage off. Pulling some cards. Find out what happened. Thanks, dude.
We actually dropped 2 crits on him, direct hit and injured pilot.
That puts him at
2 hull left.
2 hull on Cavill. Sorry we missed that. All 3 B-Wings fired on Cavill, laid out 2 crits over the course of a turn, and that left Cavill with 2 hull left after a
Injured pilot and a direct hit.
And a direct hit. Is injured pilot the one that denies your pilot ability?
Yes, you lose your pilot ability and your elite pilot talent. So he no longer has the extra attack die outside of his firing arc, and he also no longer has Opportunist. So
Cavill is just a high pilot skill Y-wing flying around with a blaster turret.
Yeah. So I don't know if you keep focusing fire on him to take him out, or if you just say, okay, he's the least of the threats now. Let's move on to somebody else.
If I was playing in a tournament, I would pop him first, just because I want the points.
Well, Luke's going to fire first, so
yeah.
I would go straight at him.
Well, no, he's not. Luke's going to get dropped down to pilot skill 0 by Torkel Mux.
You're right. Never mind then.
So this is...
We'll see how it goes. B-Wings are banking in.
He's going to have the target lock now.
This is almost where you would prefer to see a damaged cockpit situation so that you'd have somebody else at pilot skill 0 since Brendan has the initiative.
Barrel rolling in behind him. I guess he really doesn't want those tokens taken away.
Lock.
Yeah, he could, because he has to move forward, so he was going to move in front of him. We'll see how it goes. I would like to point out both of these players are 1-store championships with the lists that they are currently playing. So, and both of those were sizable tournaments. So it may turn out pretty. It could go either way.
Wasteland wasn't that sizable. It's okay. I want a small one too. At least we're not rich.
And then he was looking to barrel roll that B-wing out of the way. He didn't fit, so
that's actually kind of what he wants. If he
Yeah.
keeps it back there.
Yeah, I
Keeps
think what
him
he's
at
trying to
range.
do is end up in a chase position against these guys, because one of the weaknesses of the Hawk is how,
It can't turn around.
yeah, it has very, very, very few maneuvers available to it. The best it can do to turn around and face you is take a too hard turn. Other than that, if it's turning, it's doing red, and it's one of the few ships in the game that doesn't have any sort of K turn available to it. It's really not a maneuverable ship.
It doesn't have to with its turrets, though. It's the thing.
That's true, but if Brendan can finagle this around to where a combination of his barrel rolls and movements will bring him back out to range 3, suddenly he can't be shot at again. The best situation to be in this game is to be where you can shoot and the other guy can't.
Luke is going to move into range 1. Luke's gonna lay on some damage, and then Luke. I'm seeing Luke taking a lot of hurt here. Actually, I'm seeing Luke firing at pilot skill 0.
So
Is he gonna go after that blue squadron pilot he already injured?
We will certainly find out.
So Brendan had to think long and hard about that as to who he was target locking.
That does look like he took a target lock on Torkel Mux.
Interesting.
Looks like he reduced Luke to pilot skill 0, so Cavill is going to fire first against Blue Squadron 2. 3 damage on Blue Squadron 2 leaves him at 2 hull remaining. Next attack coming from Palob with Opportunist. Looks like 4 hits, 1 die from that B-Wing, and Blue Squadron 2 is out. That's rough. Can't act like that's not rough for Brendan.
Well, Cavill's about to go down. He's going to start landing the other Hawks, too. So
Yeah.
he's in a good spot. Torkel's going to try an eye on him, though.
Yeah, that's going to start becoming a very big piece of this, is if he can slip through an ion, the B-Wings are going to have a very hard time to evade an ion shot. It's going to be...
Luke takes an ion shot from Torkel Mux. Fancy ion token from Lambot there, that little orange thing sitting on the table.
So this may end up being one of the situations where
Blue Squad,
rarely you'll see Lambot moving quickly, because he may just want to clear by Luke and say, let's keep you out of this fight for a few minutes.
Who is he just shooting at?
Cavill took another damage.
Cavill took another damage.
I don't know why he didn't target.
Well, he rolled green dice. Oh yeah, so Cavill took another damage.
Yeah, so he's got another shot on Cavill.
Next time I pull it up, I'm gonna move it off the screen. So I
And
can still see
Cavill
what's going
managed to
on.
evade. So
Yeah,
Luke's
Cavill.
gotta drop him here.
Cavill evaded the next shot from a B-Wing. Luke is taking the long range at Cavill. It looks like Cavill evaded. Wow.
Yeah, Luke was just a little too close to the Blue Squadron there to be able to use his Lone Wolf.
I just don't know why he didn't target lock with any of his B-Wings.
Well, it looks like he does have a target lock on one of them
No, it's
from Blue Squadron 1.
It's Pablo.
No,
He
Blue
does.
Squadron 1 has a target lock on
Yeah.
Pablo,
He
but
had it on Cavill, who's it's just weird. He's screwed now.
Yeah. It's gonna be rough. Especially if Luke gets stuck at pilot skill 0 again. He might not last very long.
that, and he's sort of painted himself into a corner here with Blue Squadron 1, because he doesn't really have a whole lot of options to both have a shot next turn and not hit that asteroid. being the crafty player that he is, I almost see Brendan taking that blue squadron and going straight through the middle, trying to block Luke so that Luke can't move very far, and Luke is able to still fire into the squad.
Well, assuming none of Lambot's ships move right now, if Luke did a K-turn, would he get blocked? I think he would.
Well, you have to keep in mind,
I mean,
Luke,
the other ships are still going to move, obviously, but
They're gonna go
that
too
and
straight.
isn't Luke ionized?
Luke is on, so he's just going to drift forward, and everybody else is going to fly past him.
Well, Pablo's gonna go too straight.
To clear
Hey,
that
look at
stretch.
this. He's going straight over that asteroid. How far is he going?
Can't see. I would guess a 3, but I can't really tell. He clears a rock.
So on the other side of the rock, did he manage to get it into the way of the X-Wing?
It's gonna be a 3. No, he did not block the X-Wing.
It doesn't matter. They're not gonna be in front of him anyway.
No.
I don't think they're gonna all go too straight.
Does take damage in the
Blue
process, it
Squadron
looks
1
like.
takes the damage from the asteroid. Blue 3 banks in.
Onto that rock.
Is he on the rock? It looks like he's on the rock.
Oh, Brendan.
I can't see.
No, he is
No,
barrel
he
rolling.
is barrel rolling, which means
He cleared
he's
it.
Barely clear that asteroid. Making sure he doesn't fly over it next turn.
Well, that, and he's getting a little bit further into that chase position.
Yeah, it's just firing without actions. He's not doing enough damage.
Especially not against. I mean, maybe that's why he's not targeting Paylob. It's because he doesn't have any tokens, so he can't punch through all those focus tokens. I don't know. Looks like Paylob gets
He got a little
blocked.
greedy and was targeting the Hawks before the Y actually died. He
Yeah.
was hoping he'd drop and they get the fire later, but didn't work out.
Paylob takes a 2 straight, which is a green, but he runs into Luke. Or did he? They're figuring that out as we speak. It's kind of hard to see, to be honest with you. Move all this text out of the way.
Nope. Collision.
Yeah, that is. Paylob tries to go 2 straight and bumps Luke.
I believe he'll still get a target lock for that.
Yeah, he's still allowed to acquire target lock. There he goes. K4 Security Droid is the best crew in Scum, hands down. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to move this text out of the way so we can see where the ships are. But I promise you, just because of the furball here, but we know which is which.
Luke might have a shot on Caps now.
Right, and that's what I was thinking Brendan was trying to do with his blue squadron, was get a ship in the way so that Luke couldn't go all the way forward. And yeah, he's probably going to be at pilot skill 0.
If Cavill got blocked, oh no, Cavill's rolling. All right, and then Luke was going to be made a pilot skill 0. That's 2 hits from Cavill against Blue Squadron 1. That's going to be a shield lost on Blue 1. Four hits from Paylob on Blue 1. Looks like, actually looks like 3 hits. 3 in crit. Wait. Okay. What happened? Because he was really unclear about it. Okay.
It's 4 hits.
Yeah, it's 4 hits and nothing. Properties.
And that would have had to have been the ion cannon shot.
Yep.
So something else is ionized. I'm assuming it's that B-Wing. Oh, yeah, and it's a dead B-Wing, too.
Blue Squadron 1 is out. Cleared by the ion cannon of Torquil Mux. That leaves this, and let me update that. And why doesn't this stay where I leave it? Dead.
That Y-wing keeps evading.
That Y-wing really doesn't want to take any fire. All right, 4 hits, or two hits from Luke against
All right.
Cavill.
Cavill
And
finally
Cavill's
goes
out.
away. And things look rough at the moment, but I think it's really about to start turning around for Brendan here. So we don't have anybody ionized this turn. He set that dial on Luke really fast. That sounds like a K turn all over it. Probably the best move that he could do there.
He might just 4 away, take a focus, and look to regain his shield.
That's true, but if he gives the Hawks too much time, they can loop back around and get into the fight. If he K turns immediately and starts getting some shots, I think that's going to be his better option.
24, 28, 32, 34.66.
Math?
Well, you have to. You're a chef. You have to measure and count.
I do. It's hard.
Yeah. When I cook, I don't like to. I was like, that looks like enough.
All right, so our blue squadron's easing forward. And let's see if we see a barrel roll away from the Hawks again.
Maybe he'll do something crazy and take an aggressive action.
And you
He's
do.
grabbing
A target
a
lock.
on. Who's it going? Where's it going? Where's it going?
That one's full health, right?
Yeah, the B-wing. Actually, everything on the table right now is full health,
So it's got.
except for Luke.
So it's going to be able to take a round of shots at least and get the fire once.
Yeah. And then it looks like he grabbed it on Torkel.
Well, since Palob has the hull upgrade, Torkel's going to go down just a little bit faster. Plus, if he kills Torkel, he gets essentially an extra shot, because that then inserts him back up into the pilot skill order. So he gets whatever shot that he finishes Torkel with, and then the next turn he'll shoot before Palob.
Say that again. If Torkel dies,
So if
then
Torkel,
the one that had become a 0, does it automatically go back to its number? Or does it happen next turn? I thought it was next
it'll
turn.
happen next turn.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, but if you look at it, both the Hawks are going to shoot. Then let's say it's Luke, I'm assuming, that got dropped to pilot skill
Expecting
0.
a K turn here. Yeah, Luke's taking a 4K.
So if Luke was dropped to pilot skill 0 and he then kills Torkel with Luke, then he's going to get to go back to his normal initiative order and shoot again before Palob.
However, it looks like Luke is out of range. Yeah, they measure for Torkel's ability, so he drops. I guess he drops the blue squadron to pilot skill 0. It's kind of irrelevant, really.
Right.
And then Luke is going to get the first shot. Looks like he's going range 2 to Palob go Dolly. Dice go out. 1 hit from Luke against Palob, and 2 blanks. Palob takes a shield.
Wow.
Palob is attacking somebody.
Kind of think it's going
Brendan's
on.
really getting aggressive. He's getting anxious rolling those green dice.
Seriously, we're going to have to start calling him Nervous Brendan.
Yeah.
He's trying to decide here. Looks like he's going on the blue squadron.
So he target locks.
Yeah, gets a free target lock, spends it immediately. Looks like two.
Yeah, then it has to be on the B-wing because he was the only one that had 2 shields left.
Correct.
And then ion cannon coming in on the blue squadron. It looks like we've only got 1 hit, so this one can be evaded. But it doesn't look like he did.
Negative. All right. I don't think I was up. Give me a hull check on that B-wing. God damn it. There's like I feel like I missed something before. B-wing, range 1 against Palob.
That looked like a whole bunch of focuses.
Yeah.
B-wing has 2 shields.
Cool. And then anything just happened to Palob? I don't think so.
No. Blue Squadron rolled nothing but focuses, so Paylob was safe from that one.
Didn't he target lock, or did he choose to keep it? Oh no, he fired range 1, didn't he? Yeah.
B-wing is ionized, so it just inches forward.
I would now barrel roll.
Yeah, there it goes.
Yeah, he's wanting to make sure he gets a shot.
Sam, Nervous Sam is in the booth with us right now, and he's a big TIE Fighter player, and he knows all about when to barrel roll.
Oh, I was a big TIE Fighter player.
Yeah.
Inertial dampeners, heavy laser cannons, Dumbo. So many options to kill me.
So he was just predicting that Blue Squad was going to take a barrel roll to hopefully maintain an arc, and it totally did.
So we're seeing these Hawks actually turn to
Hawks
stay
are
into the
turning
fight, which this is going to get a little tricky for Brendan on the next turn, because again, Luke's going to have to come into range of those turrets, and he's going to have to come into range of all those abilities.
So the unlucky thing for Brendan is he's got Torkel Mux target locked, yet I don't think he's going to be an arc of that Blue Squadron again.
I'm seeing that Blue Squadron getting ioned again.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not gonna. I agree with you. Measuring range to Luke.
Oh, did he take the focus? I think he already has the target lock.
Okay, looks like Paylob. I think they decided it was still in range 2.
Right, so what Luke was trying to do there was he was trying to bank on being just inside of range 3 so that he can use that focus after he shoots to recover a shield later.
Well, he's taking the Luke's taking the range 3 at Torkel. I guess he was outside of range. There we go.
Locked, so.
Yeah, right. Target lock for 2 hits, 3 dice from Torkel, and looks like he evaded all day long. Paylob on the Blue Squad takes a stress to roll a 4-die blaster turret.
And bright screen dice have been really hot. That Y-wing stayed alive 2 extra turns because of it.
And he will spend a focus for 4 hits against the Blue Squad and a blank. So that's going to put the Blue Squad down to 1 hull. That hurts.
Here comes that ion cannon, trying to finish the job.
By the way, if you've just tuned in, thank you very much. It looks like we're about 40 minutes into our first match here.
That's it.
There we go. There's an ion cannon on the Blue Squad, and that is out.
It's a shame those V-wings barely did any damage. Oh, it's a good thing for Luke to be by himself because now Lone Wolf will kick back.
Lone Wolf will always work for Luke, and that, one positive in a deep dark space. But how you guys liking the stream so far? We got 23 players watching, not bad. The Hawks are turning all the way back around. That's a 2-turn.
Wants to stay in range to use all his abilities.
Yeah. And then Torkel turns all the way around. He wants to make sure Luke fires last. Paylob moves away to protect his more valuable token stealing ability.
Which that's an interesting choice, because
Might die right here, though.
yeah,
Torkel Mux very well might die right here. We'll see how it goes. Not if he clears.
If Luke survives.
Not if Luke dies first, but.
Yeah, here it comes.
We're going Paylob range 2 on Luke Skywalker. Opportunistic heavy laser cannon. Spin to focus to get a target lock and all that crap that he does.
2 hits.
2 hits.
You got lucky.
Re-roll from Lone Wolf.
I think he got it.
right, and he had the auto conversion from Luke's innate pilot ability, which is clutch here.
And then
And
then
he evaded Torkel.
Cannon and evaded Torkel. Here we go from Luke Skywalker attacking somebody, probably Torkel, range 1. Spinning a target lock to re-roll.
That looks like 4 damage.
4 hits on Torkel Mux. Focus for 1 evade. 3 damage go through on Torkel Mux.
And 2 of those are crits.
I'll go check him.
Yeah, find out what that is, if you don't mind. Two hull remaining on Torquemux.
Console fire and damaged engine.
Those crits are console fire and damaged engine. That means he might, Torquel might have to spend an action to repair that next turn. Damaged engine means you can't make hard turns, right?
Means your hard turns are red.
Yeah, hard turns are red. Oh, I need to update the score here, which is right there. No, it's actually.
Did he just take an action? He did.
34 versus how many points did we decide? Okay, everything's fine.
Let's see if Brendan remembers to call out that console fire.
Right, because Torquel took an action rather than trying to fix the console fire. He's going for the kill here.
He went one forward. He wasn't ionized, right? He evaded that.
Right.
He just went one. He went one
Yeah.
forward to play. It's a slow play. Yeah.
What he's trying to do is he's trying to just slide just outside of range 2 of Paylob, so he's not taking that shot.
But he can still take the range 3 lobs.
Exactly.
He's not going to do it in this position.
So Opportunist, 4-die attack. Ooh, that one was ugly.
Yeah,
One hit so far. Target lock for a total of 3.
Hits. 2 blanks. Lone Wolf reroll. Two blanks again. That ouch. All right. So that's.
So Luke should be
looks like
down
3
to.
damage. Like he's going to be down to 1 hull. And Torquel took Luke. You just saw them trading their cards there, but well, I'll get to what that is in a second. But ladies and gentlemen, you just saw two Hawks beat a pretty strong, pretty tanky Rebel list. Certainly an interesting game. There, I'm going to give them a minute to clean up, and then I'm going to get the players in here to chat for a minute. Anybody have questions for the players? Anybody? No. Okay. But yeah, I'm gonna give them just a minute. Let me put the shop cam back on the screen for just a moment. Give me about 2 minutes, and I will get the players in here. And I'm gonna say that our next game is gonna start at 8:30, as long as both our players were here. Standing. Yeah, so let us hang out for just a second, and I'm gonna get Brendan in here first. Sorry, I was talking there and I hadn't unmuted the microphone. Oh, he's I let him borrow my Lone Wolf card there.
Left mine at home.
So yeah, first question that a lot of viewers have. Starting the game, like, he was playing really slow, so you had to move into pursue, and then you were inching in at long range. Here, you take the headset. I did. Okay. You inching in at long range, and then you were first volley, you barrel rolled to stay at range 3. Second, third volley, you kept barrel rolling, and other people were, or the viewers were curious because you were inevitably within that token stealing gap anyway.
Yeah.
Why not target lock?
The problem was that, going into it, it's like I wanted Luke to be able to utilize Lone Wolf as much as possible. It worked out fairly well. It's just that when he was able to set up after all of my B-Wings on the completely opposite side, it took away like my little deployment area for Luke to just go off and do Luke things. He's running he had like 3 turrets, so basically my idea was to try and stay at range 3 of the turrets for as long as possible. I ended up going over that rock because, I don't know, it's been a couple weeks. But, the idea was that, I'd try and force down his ships one at a time, and I went after Cavill first because he seemed like a fairly dangerous guy. He can push out 5 attack dice with Opportunist.
We were talking about the Cavill. Cavill had the most damage output potential. With Palob was attributing to that. If you would,
Palob was muscling basically the entire game. Like after Cavill got that crit, injured pilot and direct crit or direct hit, I thought I had him.
Right.
Like, I thought I had him. But it was like,
you got him down to 1 hull, and he evaded you twice.
Yeah, twice. So, there was a lot of that where it was like, oh man, where are the dice at now? Because they were really hot in the very beginning. But that's how it goes. You can't expect unmodified dice to perform at the same level as like taking a focus action with it, or but the focus action is gonna get stolen by Palob, and if I give him the focus, it's basically buffing his ability to use blaster turret later on in the game.
Did you notice how many focus he stacked up? He wasn't putting them by a ship because he probably had.
He had them on his card.
A bunch,
and so by the time we got into combat, he had 5. He had 5. And then he went ahead and spent 1, 2, and then like the next turn gained 1. Ended up stealing 1 from Luke, and I felt really dumb for taking it because I thought that maybe he might have tried to, he'd take that little bank like he did. Maybe he'd get out of range, but he didn't. So
you've played Rebels a lot, and you're really good at moving through rocks that ships that don't turn as well as TIE fighters. Like that.
Yeah.
That one turn is really great at avoiding, but on the B-wing is stressful. But he was. You pursued him kind of like in a T, and by the time he had turned in, he was nose to nose with Luke. He kept shooting your B-wings. What were you thinking about that point? Because if it was me, like Luke's your high pilot skill ship. He's a pretty heavy hitter. And he's a lot of points. So
yeah.
he could have easily cleared Luke. What were you thinking when he didn't?
I knew what he was trying to do because he was trying to basically maximize Torkel for the basically like the end game versus Luke. He knew that if he basically focused down the B-Wings first, he could muscle through as much stuff. He knew that Lone Wolf wouldn't be able to activate because my B-Wings ended up getting really close. I think in the very beginning, if I had just placed Luke on the board edge and just straight forwarded it and just let him roll even slower than the rest of his team, I could have basically helped the engagement go a little bit better across that T, like you guys are talking about. It works out really well, but I couldn't catch a flank for one of the other ships.
We noted by the time that you had moved your B-wings into a chasing position, you only had 1 left. It's and that's just the way the dice go. But tabletop. I know. So a lot of you guys follow Tabletop General's blog. He's actually still saying it in here. You got a question for Brendan?
Well, honestly,
I was really wondering about that movement across the asteroid with the B-wing. It looked intentional, actually.
It was.
Okay, so what I thought you were trying to do there was try to slide that in front of Luke in order to make him hit the B-wing so that Luke would be able to have a shot on the scum ships as opposed to being just out in space. That was just...
No, the idea was to try and get the B-wing to be able to shoot at something, and I didn't really care where it ended up. I just wanted to be over the asteroid. The turn prior, I couldn't fit the barrel roll into the right where I wanted to go, and so I just took a target lock instead. It totally slipped my mind that, the asteroid was right in front of me, and I wasn't even thinking the next turn ahead. I was just more going for blood at that point, and it ended up I took the target lock on the wrong ship because, Cavill survived like 2 other B-wings, and I was like, well, crap, let's get my entire team to fire at him now, and it made no difference until, Luke finally, had to do the job by himself.
So a year ago, you or I, or really most players, saw 2 Hawks on the other side of the table. First, it'd be Rebels, but if you saw 2 Hawks on the other side of the table a year ago, you'd think, all right, I got an easy win. What if you were to see a list like this again, now that the Scum Hawks are reasonably competitive, how would you change the way you approached it?
That's actually a really funny story because about last year I had a really humbling experience. I had a really good tournament list. It was 3 X's and a Z. I think I was running StressBot 3.0 or 4.0 at the time, and that was where I had Luke with R3A2, Wedge with Predator, Biggs, and Z95, and I came up against a lone Hawk, and I think it was Jan Ors.
Jan Ors was the most popular before.
It was either Jan Ors or who's the other guy, the 12?
Kyle. That makes you 12 is Roark, yeah.
Roark
And in fact, we're
Arnett,
going to see him on stream in the next match here.
Yeah, so Roark Arnett, all right. So funny story about this. The dude is running, a couple of X-Wings or whatever, and it was a mirror match, for Rebel versus Rebel. And it's really humbling because he ended up putting me on an asteroid a couple times, and I had no control over it. And there was a Y-Wing and a Hawk inside that list, so it was really humbling. So, when I look at a Hawk, I'm not looking at, some lackluster, terrible ship. I'm looking at a ship that, fills the support role, extremely well, and they have really odd abilities. It just
they do. It's especially the Scum, but and there's an odd thing about support in this game is it's hard to fit it into 100 points.
It is.
But here, both Hawks here were support and aggressive. Paylob with Opportunist lays on a lot of damage.
Yeah.
But thank you for playing. And I'm going to go get, our Tabletop General is going to go grab David. And we're going to have a chat with him. And then our next game is going to start in about 10 minutes. I ran a little long with Brendan's interview. So we're going to push that until 8:35. But any other viewer questions? I was looking for one. Rydub, we're certainly hoping that that'll be out that the TIX1 will be out by regionals, but we don't really know.
We don't control.
All right. Yeah, we have no control over that.
Over that.
We will have it on our stream though, and we're gonna prove that the TIE Advance is good. All right, what's up, Lambot? You're our usual TO, and you've been a regular commentator lately.
Yeah.
Both of you won store championships lately, and a lot of people were saying on Facebook, wait, how did he win with 2 Hawks?
I won with 2 Hawks because I don't know. I actually went to the store championship expecting to. I brought a fun list that I didn't expect to do well, and then, I ended up winning. I think I only made top 8 actually because I think the guy you played in the last round left, and he would have been higher than me. Didn't he leave?
No.
I thought he dropped.
That was Josh Keller. He was...
Oh, was it? I don't know.
4th or 5th in the standings at that point, and he stuck around.
So
Okay.
you build up your Hawks. We were just talking about the Rebel Hawk is purely designed for support, and there's not a lot of room for that in the 100-point game. But the Hawks have some really dirty abilities, so it's kind of it's more a debuff than a support, and you can still make them offensive. Talk about what do you think of the Scum Hawk right now?
So there's 2 Scum Hawks because I don't use Dace because I didn't.
I used Dace in that furball the other day, and it was terrible.
Yeah, that's your problem. So I really like Palob or Pablo or however people like to call him, his thing, people were comparing it to being the school bully and beating a kid up for his lunch money and then beating him up because he didn't have enough lunch money. Because he does this thing with people where they don't even want to target, or they don't want to focus at all. And like, they won't focus, they won't evade, so I'm getting a lot of unmodified dice against me, except for sometimes, you know, people get the target locks, but they don't know where the hawks are going always, because I don't.
A lot of people haven't played a lot of hawks, so they're not too familiar with the dial.
Right. So that game started getting bad because he was rolling unmodified range 3 shots at me, getting like 2 crits and a hit over and over again against Cavill. Put Cavill down to he got a direct hit and lost his opportunist and his pilot ability, which is pretty bad. The only thing worse than that would be the
lose
the blaster turret, which happened to me against a Han Shoots First list, but I ended up being able to point his main guns at people, which he can still do 4 dice without the blaster turret. You just have to be range 1. You gotta be range 1 and use opportunist.
I got a question, and then we'll get to a viewer question. It was like,
Right.
Stressing a Y-wing can be problematic because their greens are only straight. So it's like, it didn't cause you a lot of problem here, but how do you handle that? Like with opportunist, you take a stress and then you have to go straight the next turn.
If I know I'm gonna have to turn, I just don't opportunist, really.
All right, that's a pretty simple answer.
And you know, what I remember the last round of the championship rounds, I banked in with the Hawks and I just kept going straight with the Y-wing, and at that point people don't know which way. It's like, do you go after the Y-wing? That's at that point he was full health, or do you have to the Hawks? And I think Brendan put it well too. It's like it's just hard to know who to go after first, and they put up this range 2 do not enter sign.
They do, yeah. And that's what he was barrel rolling and giving up target lock so that he could stay in range 2 and range 3 as long as possible.
He was barrel rolling more to keep Luke out of range 2, but.
So if we got a viewer question here by our good buddy Rydub, who's on all the time. If you had to give advice to someone to play against your Hawk list, what would you tell him?
Apparently go after Cavill first, because I lost a lot more when Cavill dies first.
Really? Because the people were talking on the viewers, and like we were talking in here, it's like he's shooting Cavill, but we really think that he should go after Palob, because that's where the opportunist and like losing tokens is really annoying.
So the way it happened at the store championship is both of my losses in the Swiss were because they killed Cavill first, and I just couldn't recover from that. And one of them, Palob, nearly took out 2 Bs and a Z by himself.
Damn. Because
he's a boss like that. But part of that was me flying in a way that made it really hard for them to shoot at me. So, Palob is harder to kill because I take the hull upgrade on him, so he's got only 2 less than the Y-wing, and he's got 2 evade dice, and he has like 1,000 focus tokens. So by the time I get into combat, actually, Brendan did a good job of getting into combat quicker. That's part of it, is you want to get into combat really fast, because I can't. You
were inching up the table edge trying to stack up your focus, and he turned in and like he got into a flanking position pretty fast.
Right.
Unfortunately, by the time he moved into chase, he only had one B-wing left.
Right. In the championship round, I played against 4 Y-wings, and I was killing a Y-wing a turn. So it definitely has damage out. It has surprising damage output, because I'm getting a ton of dice and a target lock on him, most likely, because
K4 security droid.
K4 security
it's
droid.
Probably the best scum only crew member. It's pretty great.
Is it scum only?
It is scum only. I'm not sure it should be, but it is.
I've only used it on scum, so.
Thank you for. You're gonna go play some Imperial Assault, I think, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna demo some Imperial Assault.
But yeah, thanks for playing. We'll probably have him back commentating next week. But give us about 3 minutes, and we'll get our next game ready for you.
Pretty much ready.
Yeah, cool. And